Hello, and welcome back to the SCP series, where I tell you about 5 different SCPs each video. We are currently going over the Euclid class SCPs. Now before this video starts, I must put a disclaimer, for I will be reading each SCP's description directly from the SCP Wiki. None of the information that I'll be telling you is of my own writing. With all that said, let's get right into it.
SCP-059-FR are small snowstorms, 50 kilometers in diameter, appearing in just a few minutes in regions above North Parallel between early September and late March. Satellite images show that SCP-059-FR does not form above the sea unlike normal storms. Conditions within an instance of SCP-059-FR are dangerous and often limit visibility to less than 20 meters. These conditions include heavy snowfall, strong wind, and a low temperature. Instances of SCP-059-FR1 appear in groups of 3 to 8 individuals in SCP-059-FR. Attempts to bring up an instance by artificially reproducing conditions within SCP-059-FR have so far been unsuccessful. SCP-059-FR1 are intangible predators taking on the appearance of reptilian silhouettes, approximately 1.5 meters long. Instances of SCP-059-FR1 do not have hind limbs except for a tail. Their forelimbs have at their ends 3 claws about 30 centimeters long. They levitate by unknown means and move by undulating their bodies like a snake. SCP-059-FR1 specimens appear to move randomly without interacting with each other, but as soon as they spot an isolated large living being more than a meter high, they will start to chase it. SCP-059-FR1 follow their prey for 5 to 10 minutes, moving closer and closer until the latter notices their presence. At this time, the victim often shows signs of fear. If she tries to escape, the instances will pursue until they can turn around the victim. It's been noted that the victims tend to circle around, probably due to lack of visibility associated with the movements of SCP-059-FR1. When the prey is sufficiently exhausted, instances of SCP-059-FR1 begin to attack it regularly with their claws, causing deep lacerations in the abdomen, before moving back to make room for another instance. It appears that the areas affected by SCP-059-FR1 claws are partially frozen, even through clothing. During their attacks, instances often emit reptile hissing and ice cracking sounds. The subject dies most often from exhaustion due to weather conditions and his injuries. SCP-059-FR1 does not appear to take flesh samples from their victims, but continue to lacerate them even after their death. To stop an attack by SCP-059-FR1, you must take refuge in a building, a vehicle, neutralize all instances, or join a group of people. Instances of SCP-059-FR1 are insensitive to firearms and knives, but have been found to be partially vulnerable to high temperatures as well as blunt weapons. On their quote-unquote death, the entities disintegrate into a cloud of powder. SCP-143 is a plantation of 300 specimens of a unique type of tree. The trees are similar in appearance to Prunus ex Iodonis, Japanese sakura, or cherry blossoms. They bear no fruit, and the only known way of reproduction is by careful on-root propagation using cut saplings from an older sample. The petals are a light pinkish color, slightly translucent, and with a texture of smooth glass. Care must be taken when handling the petals, as their edges are razor sharp and can easily slice through flesh if mishandled. The wood and bark are a light grayish color, with a texture expected of wood, although the grain is very smooth to the touch. However, the petals and wood of these trees are much harder than most natural or man-made substances, reaching up to 5,000 HB on the Brinell scale, and withstanding temperatures up to 1,800 Celsius. The weight-to-strength ratio surpasses even that of titanium, being some 15% lighter than aluminum. Despite this hardness, the wooden petals are quite supple and are as pliable as most woods are. Both are notoriously difficult to work due to their properties, but under high temperatures upwards of 1,500 Celsius, separate pieces are capable of being fused together. They make excellent armor, shielding, and weapons. Due to the slow growth of the plants, the material is slow to harvest, although the petals are shed regularly enough, falling from the trees twice every year. SCP-822 is a species of cactus similar in appearance to Lophophora williamsi, or peyote, but with significant differences as the plant reaches maturity within a period of approximately 30 days. As SCP-822 nears maturity, a large gas sac forms within the center of the plant as it reaches its typical maximum dimensions of approximately 10 centimeters in height and 20 centimeters in diameter. This sac is filled with volatile gases including and several substances unique to SCP-822. At the same time, the skin of SCP-822 hardens until it reaches a point not unlike sheet metal, and seeds begin to form under the skin. Once the plant is fully mature, it flowers and begins extruding a pheromone that serves to attract mammals of sufficient mass to trigger its anomalous property. Through an unknown mechanism, whenever any living creature of sufficient mass, approximately 10 to 20 kilograms, approaches within 3 meters of SCP-822, the central portion containing the gas sac violently detonates, causing shrapnel-like shards of SCP-822 skin to fly through the air. These fragments are capable of embedding themselves into the skin and flesh of any living creatures nearby, which carry the seeds of SCP-822 away. Living creatures struck by these fragments that do not die from physical trauma eventually succumb to a potent neurotoxin, synthesized by the fragment within 3 to 6 hours. SCP-822 was first discovered at a military proving ground near Redacted. SCP-822 was reported to the Foundation after 3 personnel were killed when they drove over a vehicle near a large patch of SCP-822, and a 4th managed to return to the base before expiring. Subsequent investigation of the infested area turned up hundreds of specimens of SCP-822, as well as the corpses of dozens of animals that had wandered into the area and had been killed, some of which had SCP-822 growing directly from their bodies. After sample specimens were collected, the entire area was subjected to firebombing, incinerating all remaining SCP-822 in the area. SCP-002 resembles a tumorous, fleshy growth with a volume of roughly 60 meters cubed or 2,000 feet cubed. An iron valve hatch on one side leads to its interior, which appears to be a standard low-rent apartment of modest size. One wall of the room possesses a single window, though no such opening is visible from the exterior. The room contains furniture, which upon close examination appears to be sculpted bone, woven hair, and various other biological substances produced by the human body. All matter tested thus far show independent or fragmented DNA sequences for each object in the room. To date, subject has been responsible for the disappearances of 7 personnel. It has also in its time at the facility further furnished itself with 2 lamps, a throw rug, a television, a radio, a beanbag chair, 3 books in an unknown language, 4 children's toys, and a small potted plant. Tests with a variety of lab animals, including higher primates, have failed to provoke a response in SCP-002. Cadavers as well failed to produce any effect. Whatever process the subject uses to convert organic matter into furnishings is apparently only facilitated by the introduction of living humans. SCP-023 is a large, sexless shaggy canine, 1.5 meters at the shoulder, with black fur. Anytime an individual makes eye contact with SCP-023, either that person or a member of their immediate family will die exactly 1 year after eye contact is broken. Research into the method of selection is incomplete due to a moratorium on experiments, but the available data suggests that having a larger immediate family lessens the chance of the individual making eye contact themselves dying, and neither a pattern nor a preference in victim types have been found. This may indicate that SCP-023's victims is designated entirely at random, but it is unknown whether this selection occurs at the beginning or at the end of the 1-year time period. Attempts to terminate an individual who has made eye contact with SCP-023 and their entire immediate family before this 1-year time period has ended. Data expunged. Autopsies of individuals killed by SCP-023's effect show that while outwardly appearing unharmed, their remains have been filled in with highly compacted ash, including but not limited to all organ systems and the circulatory system. Muscle tissue, bones, and brain tissue universally show signs of exposure to temperatures above Celsius. If not contained in a setting that at least superficially resembles a crossroads, SCP-023 will phase through walls to get to the nearest suitable location, incinerating all materials it passes through. SCP-023 was first brought to the Foundation's attention when it attacked a church while it was in session, killing civilians directly and redacted as a result of eye contact. Following retrieval of SCP-023, Class B amnestics were administered to all witnesses and surviving victims. The incident was covered up as a case of arson.
This concludes today's documentation. I apologize if you had a hard time understanding what I was saying because of any stuttering or word jumble. If I've missed any information or I've gotten something wrong, please comment down below and share your thoughts. Until next time, friends, stay safe.